Well, with effective vaccines to tackle the coronavirus being announced around the world and the Australian government putting on orders of 10 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine to be rolled out from March, the question most Australians are asking is, when will I actually get my shot? Managing Director of Profit Systems and one of Australia's leading logistics experts, Tim Gray, says the wait will be longer than many imagine. Tim joins me live now. Hi, Tim. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure, Alana. Thank you.
Well, we've obviously seen good news over in the US, the Pfizer vaccine, the green light and distribution as of today. How far away are Australians?
We're expecting to see our first doses in March. And what's interesting around the delivery mechanism that's not immediately obvious is this vaccine needs to be held at minus 70 degrees. And Pfizer advertising will have a life of about 14 days at minus 70. Once it's thawed out, you can't inject somebody at minus 70 degrees. That would be fatal. But the vaccine needs to be thawed out. And once it's thawed out, you only get 2 days shelf life. So there's some really challenging supply chain and logistics issues around the distribution.
So given the temperature sensitivity of this vaccine, I mean, what is the plan here? Because obviously we're talking about this in the US, it's happening as of today. How are they managing it? And how will we manage it here?
Yeah, it's stretching everybody. The good news is our medicos and the government has been aware of this for some time and are putting plans in place. Distribution is going to have to be done via hubs. The world has never seen this amount of kind of dry ice needed at one time, nor this kind of density of vaccines need to be distributed at such a high rate. So the kind of challenges that have to be handled are, we don't have enough trucks. We don't have enough dry ice to store all this stuff, and like magically, if it could be produced, get it to 25 million people straight away. So the initial plan that the government, these 10 million doses or 5 million treatments will be targeted firstly at high risk, frontline workers, and then high risk people. Yeah. Now, I suspect that will cover more than 5 million, will cover more than that, but they're the first people to get it, which is pretty smart when you think about it. So if you can vaccinate the hubs and the people most likely to get it, then you immediately get a step improvement.
Yeah, okay. I mean, obviously last week we saw some major setbacks. The University of Queensland, that vaccine trial came to a halt over other health issues. I mean, the Pfizer one is essentially getting the green light, but do we still prepare for other vaccine possibilities in the meantime?
Yeah, it's unlikely that you can imagine if you're in regional Northern Territory or somewhere, and the vaccine needs to be shipped at the moment. It's planned to be shipped in 5,000 doses at a time. You can't send 5,000 doses at minus 70 to a rural doctor so it can administer to the 100 patients you might see in the course of a couple of weeks. The wastage would be staggering. The good news is that some of the other vaccines that are coming behind the Pfizer, like the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, are expected to be managed at standard fridge temperatures, which is very applicable to our existing supply chain. So we know how to handle vaccines like that in our existing cold chains.
So I guess the big question is, for the average Aussie, and we're talking here about someone who's not considered vulnerable, not considered a frontline worker, even potentially a teacher. We know there's been a big push for them over the last 48 hours in regards to being considered one of the front runners there. When do you think just the average Aussie is going to be able to get the jab?
I think best case is going to be late, towards the end of 21. I don't know whether it'll be prioritised if you want to or need to travel overseas. I think there'll be a natural tendency after the frontline and high risk people are taken care of. There may be some need for if we want to open up travel, then they would be another layer of people. But I haven't heard plans around that. But definitely these Oxford. Definitely these Oxford and the vaccines that handle it at normal temperatures will be the ones that follow up this immediate surge and allow regular people to get it. But I think we're looking at the end of 21.
Well, Tim, certainly some many twists and turns in this fight against coronavirus, but I think ultimately we are starting to see some light at the end of tunnel here. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your insight on this topic.
Thanks, Alana.